The air smelled of smoke and blood. Jared crouched near the broken stone wall, eyes scanning the edge of the burned forest. His hand moved slowly over the blade in his lap, cleaning the edge with a rough cloth. He didn't rush. Every stroke was steady. His muscles were tired, but his mind stayed sharp. He could still hear the screams. The last ambush had happened just before dawn. The alien creatures moved like shadows, fast, wild, brutal. Not like trained soldiers. They didn't speak. They howled. They struck fast, then vanished. And now Jared was alone. The rest of the squad had fallen 2 nights ago. Since then, he had moved carefully, hiding, surviving, watching. He didn't understand why the aliens hadn't finished him off. Maybe they thought he was already dead. A dry wind blew ash across the ground. The trees looked like skeletons. Somewhere deep in the woods, a howl echoed low and long. He froze. That howl wasn't like the others. It was closer. It was softer. He lifted his head slowly. Something stood at the edge of the forest, just beyond the last dead tree. A tall shape, still, watching, narrowed his eyes. The figure didn't move. It was too tall to be one of the common enemy scouts. Its shape was feminine, slim but strong. Long silver hair fell over dark armor that shimmered in the light. She stood calmly, arms down, no weapon raised. But the strangest thing was her eyes, glowing, bright, like twin suns. She stared at him. He looked down at his blade. His fingers tightened. When he looked back up, she was gone. His breath caught. Had she vanished? Or moved? Was it a trick? He stood and scanned the forest edge. Silence. No wind now. No sound. Then he turned and froze. She was behind him, only 10 feet away. He hadn't heard a thing. Her silver eyes locked with his. Her breathing was calm. Her sharp ears twitched slightly. Her hands were empty, but a long curved blade was strapped across her back. She didn't attack. She watched. He didn't speak, didn't move. His blade was still in his hand, but he didn't raise it. Her head tilted slightly, as if curious. Then slowly she stepped forward, not like a soldier, not like a hunter, like something ancient, something that had seen battle many times, and didn't fear the end. Jared tensed, but she didn't strike. She walked until she stood just a few feet away from him. Then, without a word, she dropped to one knee, reached behind her back, and laid her weapon on the ground before him. It was a gesture. One he didn't understand. Her glowing eyes didn't leave his. She was offering her blade. Why? He stared down at it. The weapon was unlike anything he had seen. Dark metal, runes glowing faint blue along the handle. It looked old, important, sacred. She lowered her head slightly. A bow? A sign of respect? Was she surrendering? Or was this something else? Then her lips moved. Not a growl, not a howl, but words. Rough, deep, but in his language. Sharpen, she said. His heart jumped. She had been watching him. She saw him clean his blade, and now she was asking him to do the same. For hers, he knelt slowly. Her muscles didn't twitch. She wasn't afraid of him. Not even a little. His hand hovered above the alien blade. Still, she didn't move. Finally, he picked it up. It was heavier than his own. The grip was worn smooth. Many battles. Many kills. He looked at her. She was still watching. But her expression had changed, just slightly. Was that trust? He pulled the cloth from his pack and began to wipe the blade. The silence between them was thick. She didn't speak again. She just sat there, still letting him work. Then came the sound. Distant, but sharp. A scream. Jared looked up fast. The girl stood. She grabbed her blade back from his hands in one smooth motion, but didn't hurt him. Her body shifted. Not just moved, shifted. Her spine curved, claws grew, fur spread across her arms. In seconds, she wasn't a girl. She was a beast. A werewolf, not like Earth legends. Bigger, Sleeker. Alien dot, and then she ran toward the scream. Jared stood in shock. Still holding his cloth dot, another scream echoed. Then another. But no more howls came. Minutes passed. Then silence again. He waited dot, then the tall shape returned dot, bloody. Breathing hard. She dropped a torn alien war banner at his feet. Enemy colors. She wasn't one of them. She had killed them. For him. She looked at him one last time. Her eyes met his dot, then she sat down again, across from him dot, and slowly reached back. And offered her blade once more. Asterisk. Jared didn't know what to do dot. The alien girl. The werewolf had dropped the enemies. War banner at his feet like it was a dead animal. It was torn, stained with blood. She had hunted them. She had killed them. Not him, but for him. Now she sat calmly, just a few feet away, and placed her blade before him again. The message was clear. She trusted him. But why? He studied her face. Her silver hair was messy from the run, her breathing slow but steady. Blood stained her arm, but she didn't seem hurt. Her eyes glowed softly. She didn't speak this time. Jared picked up the blade again. He wiped the blood from it and started to sharpen the edge. She watched silently dot. It was strange. Sitting there across from something not human, not even close, but feeling no fear. She had the strength to tear him apart in seconds, but she didn't. She sat still. Like this was something sacred dot. After a while, she spoke again. Her voice was rough, deep, but careful. You alone? Jared paused, then nodded. Yes. She didn't blink. Others gone? He hesitated. Killed. All of them. She didn't show surprise. Maybe she already knew. Maybe she had seen the bodies. I watched, she said. 3 days. You move like a warrior. He frowned. You've been watching me for 3 days? She gave one small nod. You stay alive, quiet. Smart. He wasn't sure if that was a compliment or a warning. Why follow me? He asked dot. She looked at him for a long time before answering. You, not like others, she said. You respect the blade. The hunt. He didn't fully understand, but he listened. She reached into a pouch at her side and pulled out a strange, round object. She rolled it across the ground to him. He caught it dot. It was a small glowing stone, warm to the touch. Lines of light moved inside like flowing water. What is it? He asked dot. She said one word. Gift. Jared looked at it again, then tucked it into his vest. She stood slowly, tall and proud again. Then she turned and pointed toward the distant hills. Bad ones, she said. Many, coming. Jared stood beside her. You mean the ones who killed my squad? She nodded. Raiders, slavers, not my kind. They wear fur, but they are not of the pack. You're not one of them? She shook her head. I was before, long time ago. I left. He studied her face. There was pain there, regret, maybe shame. Why help me? He asked. She looked away, as if the answer was heavy. You did not run, she said. You fought. You care for your dead. She paused, then added, my people forget these things. The wind moved through the trees again. Somewhere far off, a horn blew sharp and cold. The enemy was coming. She turned back to him. Your choice, she said. Stay, die, or fight with me. Jared looked down at his own blade, dull now, scratched, tired. Then he looked at hers, dark, strong, glowing faint blue where he had cleaned it. He nodded once. I'll fight. She didn't smile, but her eyes seemed to shine brighter dot together. They moved quickly. She led him through paths in the forest that no human would find. She knew the land, the sounds, the smells. She could tell when danger was near. Jared followed her steps, moving fast but quiet. They reached a cave hidden under roots. Inside she had supplies. Strange weapons, bones, carved stones. This wasn't just her hiding place. It was her home. She gave him food. Bitter, dried strips of meat. He ate without complaint. As they sat near a fire she made without tools, Jared spoke again. You have a name? She hesitated. Then she said, Kezra. He nodded. I'm Jared. Kezra, she repeated slowly. Jared, human name. He nodded again. Then she pulled a second blade from the wall and handed it to him. Yours, she said. It was curved and heavy. Not like earth steel, but balanced. Made by my hands, she said. For a hunter, for a fighter. Not for cowards. Jared took it. That was the moment the cave shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. A loud thud echoed. Outside. Then another. She stood at once, eyes glowing brighter. They've come, she said. Jared grabbed the alien blade and stood beside her. Outside. Shadows moved between the trees. Dozens of them. He could hear growls, metal, laughter. Kezra didn't move. She was waiting for his decision. Jared stepped forward, blade in hand. And for the first time since the war began, he wasn't alone. Jared stood just outside the cave. The alien blade in his hand felt heavy, but balanced. Strange energy hummed through it. It wasn't like a human weapon. It felt alive. Kezra crouched beside him, her silver hair flowing with the breeze. Her nose twitched. Her ears turned slightly. She could smell them, hear them. The raiders were close. Jared looked out between the trees. The forest was darker now, quiet, too quiet. Then he saw them, dozens of shapes moving between trees. Some wore armor. Others had claws and fur. All were dangerous. Their eyes glowed red. They carried jagged blades and strange rifles. They were hunting. Kezra pointed at the biggest one. His armor was thicker. His mouth opened in a crooked smile. He shouted orders in a language Jared didn't know. Pack leader, Kezra whispered. If he falls, they break. Jared nodded. Then we aim for him. But Kezra grabbed his arm. No, not yet. They test, they smell fear. We show none. Jared steadied his breath. I'm ready. No, she said, eyes locking with his. You're still human. You think like prey. He didn't answer. He just stepped out from the trees, blade in hand, and waited. The raiders saw him. The leader raised a hand. They stopped, then laughed. One human. Alone? Against all of them? Jared didn't move. His fingers tightened on the handle. A small one came forward, fast, cocky, holding a short spear. He rushed straight at Jared. Kezra didn't move. Jared watched the attacker come closer. Then, at the last second, he shifted. His weight dodged left and brought the alien blade across the raider's chest. The scream was short. The body fell. The laughter stopped. Kezra smiled. Now they saw him. Another two rushed in. Kezra launched forward like lightning. Her body shifted. In mid-run, fur spreading, claws out, fangs bared. She leapt into the air and crashed into one of them, tearing through his armor like paper. The other tried to run. He didn't make it far. Jared threw a blade, one he took from the cave, and struck the raider in the back. The forest was no longer silent. The battle had begun. The pack leaders shouted again. All of them charged now. No more testing. No more games. Jared and Kezra fought back to dash back. Claws and blades met. Blood flew. Dust and ash rose. Jared moved like a soldier, but sharper now. Faster, every swing mattered. Every step was placed with purpose. Kezra was a blur of motion, growling, striking, never stopping. But there were too many. They kept coming. Kezra took a hit to the side. She stumbled. Jared stepped between her and the attacker, blocking the strike with his arm. Pain shot through his shoulder, but he didn't fall. He drove the alien blade through the raider's chest. More were coming. They couldn't last much longer. Then the horn blew again, but this time, it wasn't from the raiders. It was deeper. Older. Jared looked up out the other side of the forest. New figures appeared. Tall, broad, covered in furs and armor. Not raiders. Wolves, Dot like Kezra, but older. Their eyes were yellow, not red. Their weapons were clean. Their bodies marked with glowing runes. Kezra's eyes widened. She whispered, "The true ones." They joined the fight with no words. One of them leapt straight into the pack leader and slammed him to the ground. The raiders panicked. Some ran. Others were cut down. Jared dropped to his knees, breathing hard, body bleeding, hands shaking. The battle was over. The leader of the new group walked up to Kezra. He was massive. His fur was white. His eyes calm. "Kezra," he said. She lowered her head. "Elder, you left the pack, but you kept the code." She nodded once. "I followed the old path." The elder looked at Jared. "And the human?" She looked at Jared, then back to the elder. "He sharpened my blade." The elder studied Jared carefully. "Then he has earned the right." Jared didn't know what that meant. But Kezra walked over and helped him stand. "You live," she said softly. "Barely." He answered. She touched his chest, just above his heart. "You fight with it. That's why." He looked at her. "What now?" She glanced at the elder. Then at the dying fire in the cave. "We move, together." Asterisk, they moved through the forest at night. The raiders were gone, either dead or scattered. But the danger wasn't over. The elder Wolf warriors, tall, silent, and scarred, walked in. A loose circle around Jared and Kezra. They didn't speak to him. But they didn't stop him either. Kezra walked close beside him, watching his steps, sometimes helping him over rocks and roots. His wounds ached, and his arm was wrapped tight with a strip from her cloak. He didn't ask what kind of medicine she used, but the pain had faded fast. They walked for hours until they reached a wide stone clearing. In the center was a ring of black pillars carved with glowing lines. Firelight flickered between them, but there was no fire. The stone itself glowed. The elder raised one hand, and the pack stopped. Kezra spoke quietly. "This is the circle. It is where the hunt begins." Jared looked around. "I thought the hunt already started." "No," she said. "That was only defense. Now we hunt them." He looked into her silver eyes. "You mean the slavers?" She nodded. The elder turned to the group. His deep voice echoed. "They take our young. They burn our forests. They call us beasts, but act like monsters." His eyes fell on Jared. "This human fought beside one of us, protected her, bled for her, and sharpened her blade. What say the pack?" The others growled softly, low and respectful. The elder stepped forward. "Human, speak your name." Jared cleared his throat. "Jared Cole, soldier, earthborn." "You stand in the sacred ring," the elder said. "This place knows lies. Speak with truth." "I have no lies left," Jared said. "I came here with my squad. They're all dead. The slavers killed them. I was supposed to die too. But I didn't, because Kezra saved me." He looked at her. "She didn't have to, but she did. And I'm still breathing because of her." He turned back to the elder. "If she fights, I fight." The wind moved through the trees. Then the elder raised his clawed hand and drew a glowing line in the air. The others growled in approval. "You are chosen," the elder said. "You walk with us now." Kezra stepped beside Jared and gave him something, a round bone ring with blue symbols. "Put it on your right hand," she said. He did. It felt cold at first, then warm. The glow matched the symbols on her armor. Jared looked down. "What is it?" She touched her own ring. "It means we are blade-bound." "Blade-bound?" She gave a small nod. "Not just allies. Not just friends. You fight with me, you fall with me. My victories are yours. My enemies are yours." Jared hesitated. "Is this permanent?" "Yes," she said, voice soft. "Unless one of us dies." He looked at her, unsure if he should be honored or afraid, but deep down, he didn't feel fear. He felt ready. That night, they sat together by a shallow stream. The stars above were huge and clear. brighter than Earth's sky. Strange shapes moved among them, ships, moons, maybe even creatures. Jared cleaned his blade. Kezra cleaned hers. "Why do they take your people?" he asked. Kezra stared at the water. "They want our blood. It gives them power, strength. It is old magic, forbiddens. Your people have magic?" "Not like stories," she said. "Ours is in the blood, the bone, the howl." She looked up. "Yours is in the heart." He didn't answer. He just kept sharpening the blade. She watched him for a long time, then asked, "Do all humans honor their dead like you do?" "Yes," he said. "We bury them, we remember their names." She nodded slowly. "Then we are not so different." Suddenly, a shadow moved across the sky. Fast, silent. A large black shape flew over, headlong and metallic, with red lights across the bottom. Jared stood. "What is that?" Kezra growled. "Slaver ship." "Scouting." The elder barked an order. The warriors scattered into the trees. Jared grabbed his weapon. Kezra touched his arm. "Not now," she said. "We follow, we watch, then we strike." Jared's jaw clenched. He nodded. The real hunt had begun, and this time he was ready to fight, not as a soldier of Earth, but as the blade-bound of a werewolf warrior. The slaver ship hovered above the trees, silent as a ghost. Its dark shape passed slowly across the sky, red lights scanning the forest below. It didn't drop soldiers. It didn't fire. It was searching. Jared and Kezra crouched under thick roots, hidden beneath layers of moss and stone. The others from the pack had already disappeared into the trees. Only silence remained. Jared whispered, "Why don't they land?" "They look for weakness," Kezra said. "For small groups, easy prey. If they don't find it, they move on." Jared narrowed his eyes. "What if we want them to stop?" She turned her head toward him, confused. "Why would we want that?" "Because if they don't stop," Jared said, "we can't get in." The ship passed overhead again. Then it rose higher, turned sharply, and drifted off toward the north. Gone. For now. The pack regrouped deep in the woods that night. A map was drawn in the dirt with claw tips and sharp sticks. Jared listened closely as Kezra and the elder marked slaver routes, camp locations, and landing zones. "There is a base," Kezra said, "deep in the mountains. Old mining site. Now full of cages." Jared's jaw tightened. "Prisoners?" "Many," she said. "Some from my kind, some not. All taken." The elder pointed to a valley near the mountain ridge. "Here they send supplies, food, weapons, new guards. If we strike there, they will call for help. The ship will return." Jared leaned in. "And we follow it back," Kezra nodded. "That is the way in." It was risky, but it was a plan. The next morning, before the suns rose, they moved. Jared traveled at the front with Kezra. She taught him to walk softer, breathe lighter, feel the forest like she did. He listened carefully. He was no longer just a soldier. He was something more now. Blade bound. As they neared the valley, Jared saw it for the first time, a metal structure built into the cliffs, surrounded by old rusted machines and fences made of bones and wires. Guards in black armor patrolled the perimeter. Strange turrets moved slowly, scanning the rocks. Jared took a deep breath. This isn't a camp, it's a fortress. Kezra crouched beside him. They don't expect wolves, only humans. Machines don't smell. That gave them an edge when darkness fell. The wolves attacked. They came like shadows. Silent, fast. Jared moved with them, blade ready. He didn't hesitate anymore. He followed Kezra into the fire. The first guards didn't even cry out. Then the alarms screamed. Red lights flashed across the camp. Sirens wailed. The turrets spun, but it was too late. Jared and the wolves were already inside the walls. Kezra tore through the enemy with brutal speed. Jared kept close, striking hard and fast. He moved like he had trained his whole life for this. Their blades danced through the smoke, then he saw it. Girl. Small. Weak. Locked behind an energy cage. She wasn't Wolfkin. She was something else, thin skin. Big eyes, terrified. Jared broke the controls. The cage fell. She stared up at him, shaking. He knelt. You're safe now. Come on. More prisoners. Dozens of them. Some barely alive. The elder's voice roared. Across the yard. Pull back. The ship comes. A distant thunder shook the sky. The black ship returned faster this time. Angry. Red lights brighter than before. Kezra ran to Jared's side. We go now. He looked back at the freed prisoners. We can't leave them. You don't understand, she said. If we die now, we lose everything. Jared stood tall. Then we don't die. The ship fired. Flames ripped across the yard. Smoke, heat, screams. Jared grabbed the alien girl and ran behind a stone wall. He passed her to another wolf, then turned. To Kezra. We need to reach that ship. She blinked. What? If we get inside, we can take it. Or crash it into their mountain base. She hesitated. Then she smiled. You think like a beast now, Jared grinned. Is that a compliment? Yes, she said. A dangerous one. They moved together through fire and gunshots. The ship landed. Its doors opening. More slavers poured out, and Jared, blade in hand, charged straight toward them, with a werewolf warrior at his side. Asterisk, the slaver ship's ramp dropped with a hiss. Jared and Kezra rushed forward. Blades out, smoke rising around them. The enemy didn't expect a direct attack, especially from a human and a werewolf charging side by side through fire. The first slaver barely had time to raise his rifle. Jared cut him down. Kezra leapt high and slammed into the next. Her claws tore metal and armor like it was cloth. Inside the ship, alarms blared. Red lights flashed. A cold voice echoed through the hallway in a language Jared didn't understand. Kezra led the way. She knew how to move through enemy machines. Jared followed close, clearing rooms and sealing doors behind them. They reached the main bridge. 3 slavers waited, heavily armed, but not fast enough. Jared ducked under the first blast, rolled forward, and drove his blade straight into the closest one. Kezra tackled the second and pinned him to the wall. The third aimed at her. Jared threw his blade. It struck the slaver's neck. Clean and fast. Silence. The bridge was theirs. Jared sat at the glowing control panel. Can you fly this thing? Kezra pressed her clawed hand on a glowing stone beside the main screen. Yes, but not like they do. I fly with instinct. With touch. Good enough, Jared said. Take us to the mountain base. Outside, the rest of the slavers panicked. They fired at the ship, but it was too late. The engines flared bright blue. Dust and fire blew through the trees as the ship lifted into the air. Kezra moved her hands slowly, guiding the ship like it was part of her body. Jared watched the forest vanish beneath them. Then the mountain appeared, huge, cold, and sharp against the sky. Target? Kezra asked. Jared pointed. That command tower. Drop us there. Kezra gave a low growl. We do not drop. The ship turned sharply, heading straight for the tower. Jared narrowed his eyes. You're going to crash it? She looked at him calmly. It is the only way, he grinned. Then I'm with you. She touched her ring. He touched his. Their blades rested side by side between them. The ship screamed through the clouds. The mountain fortress lit up, with defenses, turrets, shields, blasts of energy. But the stolen ship was too fast, too angry, and too full of vengeance. Jared stood by the open door. Kezra handed him his blade. You sharpened mine, she said. Now sharpen their fate. He nodded. Let's end it. At the last moment, just before the crash, they leapt. They landed hard on the upper wall. Kezra rolled and jumped back to her feet. Jared winced but rose beside her. The ship slammed into the tower behind them. Flames burst into the sky. The shockwave knocked guards to the ground. And then the real fight began. KE0 led the charge. Jared followed. Room by room, hall by hall. They tore the slaver base apart. Jared fought like a soldier, but not like the man he once was. This time, he fought with purpose. He fought with fury. He fought with something burning inside him. KE0 moved beside him, fast, sharp, deadly. Together, they freed cages, unlocked cells, rescued the weak and the wounded. Other wolves arrived from the valley, joining the final assault. It didn't take long. The fortress fell. The last slaver tried to run. Kezra caught him by the throat and held him over the broken edge of the tower. "No more cages," she said. Then she let go. Wind howled through the broken walls as the sun finally rose. The battle was over. Jared stood at the edge, looking down at the forest below. Smoke still rose, but there was peace now. Kezra walked beside him. "You're not just blade-bound now," she said softly. "You are part of the pack." He looked at her. "What does that mean?" She tilted her head, then leaned in close. "It means I don't watch from the trees anymore." He smiled. "Good," he said, "because I'm done fighting alone." She placed her clawed hand over his. Then she looked at the blade he still held. "Keep it," she whispered. "It is yours now." He nodded slowly. And for the first time since the war began, he felt like he belonged, not as a soldier, not even as a human, but as something new, blade-bound, respected, chosen. By a warrior. By a people. And by the alien werewolf girl who watched him sharpen his blade and offered hers. Together, they walked down from the mountain. Into a new world.